Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to the new video. I'm the Casual Racing Gamer. Today, we are going to be talking about going down to a B-rated driver from an A. In my last video, you saw that happen. I was really excited to drop down to a B. I wanted to have some better finishes than I was having in an A lobby. So I was like excited to get back to a B. I wanted to have some better finishes, better grid starting positions, and just be able to drive a little bit better with drivers. I felt like more in my class. Well, this race before we're actually going to watch, this is the race before that I'm going to show you, but I don't understand how I got gridded here. I was the only B-rated driver in a full A lobby, only A+ and A drivers, and me sitting at a B. I have no idea how they actually classed me with this if I'm a B-rated driver. And yes, I know sometimes they mix you with A's and B's if you're high level B, but never just the only B driver here. I don't understand how this happened or why they did it. But anyway, I just thought that was really crazy and really weird. I was not excited about that because I want to be with B-rated drivers. I was excited to drop down to be with B-rated drivers, not with A-rated drivers. But now let's watch the race after this. So this was the race after the race I just showed you where I gridded as the only B driver. Now I actually went with B-rated drivers here, which was like what I was looking to do. That's what I was looking for. I didn't want to start in the back of the pack of an A-rated lobby. That was the whole point of dropping down to a B and getting excited for it. So here I went from, from there I went from the back of the pack in the grid to I actually got poled. So they put me in pole in a B-rated lobby and I was like, all right, cool. Now I can, have a chance at a win. I have a chance at a good finish, and this is where I want to be. This is where I have fun. I have fun racing around cars, front pack, mid pack. So that's why I was excited to drop down to a B-rated driver. Now in this video, I'm going to talk about trying to win the race on the first lap, first turn. I'm also going to be talking about using meta cars, and a lot of this I'm going to be talking about is not for the fast drivers out there. It's for casual racers like me, and I'm going to give you my tips on how to qualify probably better, how to race better, how to finish better. But first, I want to watch this just right here. I just want to watch us go into turn one, and I want to explain why this is not something you should be doing. Do I blame the person for doing it? No, because I think everyone is going to do what this driver tries to do in turn one, but it's just not the way that I drive. And I'm going to explain why I don't do it and why it might help you finish better if you don't do what you're going to actually see here. So here we are. Like I said, gridding P1. I hope you guys really like this, my livery, because pink, I was racing the pink car. Thanks to Ozzy Pug for the pink livery. Kaz Racing family. Here we go. Going into turn one. Now, bam. Already the car tries to come on the inside of me. Now, this is a driver in P2. So obviously we know he has speed. We know he's faster than most of the grid here. And I always preach this, and I preach this for so long. Guys, don't try to win the race on turn one. I did not know he was coming to my inside. So I was obviously driving my line to the inside, and bam, then there's a car there, and I'm like, okay, he's already trying to pass me in turn one. If I'm in P2, and let's say there's a car in front of me, turn one, actually if I'm in P7, 8, 9, 10, wherever I am, going into turn one, I'm kind of just following the car in front of me. I'm not trying to make any crazy move yet. I'm not trying to make a pass. I want to kind of get like a rhythm going here. I want to see the cars around me. I want to get out of turn one and survive. The issue with here, and I'm going to tell you that P2, I think, lost it here for himself, because I think he actually probably could have overtaken me somewhere else in this race if he would have just survived and stayed behind me on turn one. But because we bumped cars, it let me pull ahead a little bit more, and it made him drop back a little bit more. So guys, I always preach this. Don't try to win a race on turn one. Don't try to win the race, even on lap one. This is a 6-lap race. And like I said, there's a good chance he could have passed me. He could have passed me probably in lap one if he would have just survived turn one and not gotten into me. But he was overly aggressive. And again, this is not just him. I think it's a lot of drivers that don't think that way. They're always just looking to overtake at every single opportunity that you could possibly can pull up on the side of a car. But because of where he pulled up, and I didn't even know he was there, I was just coming into my regular line, not thinking anyone's going to try to take the inside on me. But he did. Unfortunately, we bumped, and lucky for me, I survived it and was able to pull ahead. And what it did was it lets the cars behind us catch up, and then they have to start battling closer and closer. Now, luckily, it let me pull ahead, and now I pulled ahead so much here, and this race, knowing how far back the cars were from me, I knew I didn't have to overdrive. I just had to know I had to drive consistent. I had to just drive clean. I did not have to drive fast laps. So I didn't want to risk spinning out, losing my car on anywhere on this track. I also made sure to be cautious about anywhere I knew there's a good chance of getting a penalty. I definitely slowed down more than I normally would be driving if I'm going head to head with a car or if I'm in close range with other cars. But being that I just had such a lead right here, I was not concerned about driving fast. At this point, coming into lap 3, it was all about consistency. And it was just about just driving a good lap. Was not looking for fastest lap. I was not looking for fastest car. I was just looking for consistency, stay on the track. Cars behind me that are so far back that I know that I have this in the bag as long as I can just stay on the course and do my thing, right? Consistency. I always preach consistency, and that comes with practicing your laps a lot. You got to practice. You have to really put in the time in qualifying hot laps to really know the track well. And that leads me to why I never look at the meta car anymore. I never look at what's the top cars running in qualifying in the global times. I don't look at that car. I don't really care. I race cars that I'm comfortable in, and I consistently race the same cars. I consistently race the same Group 3 car. I consistently race the same Group 4 car. I'm not worried about what the meta car is, and I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't be concerned either. Unless you're one of the fast guys looking to get in like the top 100 or top 500, and it really makes a difference to you. If you're slower than me, don't worry about the meta car. Learn to drive a certain car, learn how the car handles, learn how the shifting works, learn the best gears to drive, and it will make you a better driver. That's what made me a better driver. I drive the same cars that I'm comfortable with. I know how they handle. I know where I can push the car, and I know the limit that I can drive the car to. If I'm always changing cars and looking at what the meta car is, I always feel like it's like a foreign car to me, and not literally a foreign car, depending on where the country is. Like literally foreign to me. Like it's not something I'm used to. It's not something I'm able to drive. So you definitely want to be consistent with your car, and the important thing about that is getting comfortable in the same car. And I'm going to preach this over and over and over again because it's so much more important if you're in VR, the car that you choose, because the feeling of a car is so different in VR, right? If you're running on a flat screen and you're just using the bumper cam, it doesn't really matter what car you're using. Every single car, it might handle differently, but every car will look exactly the same on your flat screen. So there's no difference in feeling of what you're feeling within the car because it all looks the same if you use hood cam, if you use bumper cam. If you're in VR, every single car feels different because the mirrors themselves are all different in the car. So how well you can see in your mirrors, how well you can see things. Also, the thing with the windows, how good you can see out of the windows. I know the meta car, I think it was maybe the Ford or something like that. I actually hopped into it just to try it, and I could not see out of my left window. So when I was making like a hairpin turn, I did not see well. I couldn't see where the apex was, and I couldn't judge corners. And I just did it just to see, hey, why is everyone, a lot of people running this car? And again, for me, I couldn't run the car because I didn't feel comfortable sitting in the car. I didn't feel comfortable looking out of my left window. My view was just not good, and I just couldn't see the apex like I could in my Porsche. Like my Porsche, I am so comfortable in this car. I drive it like weekly in all the Group 3 cars. It's just something that I'm so used to driving. I know when to shift gears. I know where I can push the car. I know what gear to be in, what feels good, what speed. And you just become so used to that car. So don't think because you're not using the meta car that you can't run a good qualifying lap time. You can always run a good qualifying lap time. You might not be the fast, 100 global ranking. But again, this is for people that aren't worried about being that super fast because you're not going to be that fast unless you're that fast. So you're looking for the fastest car. We're just looking to qualify in good times and just, be as fast as we can be. And driving a car that you're comfortable with is what's going to get you there. It's also what's going to get you consistency. It's also going to get you better times because you're used to driving that car. So get used to the car, get used to the handling. And also one thing to consider is, that meta car might not be the best car for you because you're not used to the handling. Some cars, just just give out. They just lose traction. They lose control so easily. And you really have to play with the throttle much differently. You have to play with the brakes much differently. When you're coming out of a turn, you know, sometimes your throttle control has to be like so much better with certain cars. So yes, they might be faster, but they're only faster if you can handle the way, you know, the throttle needs to be babied or coming out of a turn that you don't lose the back end. Again, yes, cars can be faster, but they can only be faster if you know how to drive them correctly. You might be much faster in a non-meta car. So, you know, my thing to you is if you want to run good laps, if you want to put up good times, is get used to the same car, learn how to drive that car to its fullest potential. And unless, you know, when you're driving a car and there's a lot of drivers even way ahead of you in qualifying times driving that car, then you know there's a lot more in that car that you can still do. So don't think like, oh, I can't be as fast as the fastest guy because I'm not using that person's car. You can always be that fast. You can always be faster than you are. So just learn the car, learn the handling. And that's just going to be my tip for you with, don't worry, I don't even look what the meta car is anymore. I don't hop into it. I run my car, what I run my car, whichever car that I'm used to running. And again, I have my cars in GT3, GT4 cars that I'm always used to running. But as you saw here, you know, this was just a consistent race where I was able to just stay in first the whole entire race. And it all came down to turn one, that because a car tried to overtake me in turn one, and that just brought everyone backed up and let me really pull ahead. The race would have been so much different if P2 would have just stayed behind me probably and just ran behind me until there was actually, you know, we were more deeper into the race and we're really starting to drive and where, you know, people would be able to catch up and pass me. So he kind of gave me the opportunity because of the move that he did. But also, you know, here's something unfortunate, and most people might think this is actually good, but after I took this win, ready? Look at this unfortunate event right here. So this win took me, and I'm going to say unfortunately, back to a driver rating A. It hasn't even been a week. I maybe ran about maybe six races as a B-rated driver, maybe 5 or 6 races as a B-rated driver. My best finishes was 5th, 3rd, and then obviously this win. I had a couple of finishes where I was like mid back of the pack, but I'm already back to a driver rating A. And, you know, I was excited to race as a B-rated driver, as you just saw. I started in pole position and I took a win. So, you know, I threw up a nice win on my record. I also, in a B-rated lobby, I threw up a nice, you know, top 5. I threw up a top 3. And now I'm back to a driver rating A. And the issue is with the same exact qualifying times, when you're racing in a fully A-rated lobby with the same qualifying time as if you're in a B-rated lobby, you usually are mid back of the pack, where if you're running that same time in a B-rated lobby, you're up in front of the pack. So I don't know. Hopefully we have some good finishes in A. Otherwise we drop back to a B. And I don't really care if I drop B and A, back and forth, because, you know, I always say when you drop down, that's your opportunity to take some really good finishes, throw some wins on your record. And, you know, it feels good to win. It feels good to be up in front. It feels good to have a good finish. You don't always want to finish in the back. So, you know, do what you need to do to get faster, work on it, consistency, good laps. Don't try to win the race on lap 1. Just know how to follow cars, where to make the move, when to make the move. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thumb it up, subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one. We out of here. Peace.